Bro, stop what you are doing right now, because something just dropped in the boxing world that nobody saw coming. We are talking about a guy who got his jaw broken in 2 places, posted an x-ray from his hospital bed, and captioned it, "Give me Canelo in 10 days. That guy, the most unbothered man in combat sports history. His own doctor has now told him to never fight again, and when Anthony Joshua was asked about it, his reaction said everything. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you are going to see exactly how this story ends, and it is not the ending anybody expected. Alright, let's rewind to December 19th, 2025. Miami, Netflix. One of the biggest boxing events of the year. Jake Paul steps into the ring with Anthony Joshua, 2-time unified heavyweight champion, Olympic gold medalist, a man with 26 knockouts from 29 wins. And no cap, Jake Paul actually gave him problems early. He was moving, using the whole ring, making AJ miss, and the crowd was genuinely buying in. People were starting to ask the question, wait, is this guy actually legit? Then the 5th round happened. Joshua found his range and dropped Jake twice. By the 6th, it was over. A crushing right hand sent Paul to the canvas, and the referee waved it off. Jake Paul, knocked out for the first time in his professional career. 12 wins, 2 losses. Night over. But here is where it gets crazy straight away. After the fight, Jake posts from his hospital bed, shows an actual x-ray of his jaw, double fracture, broken in 2 places, and captions it, and I am not making this up, double broken jaw, give me Canelo in 10 days. Bro, his jaw is literally in 2 pieces, and he is already calling out the pound-for-pound king. That is either the most delusional sentence ever typed, or the most Jake Paul sentence ever typed. Probably both. They rushed him into emergency surgery that same night. Titanium plates, screws, multiple teeth removed. And everyone assumed, okay, few months recovery, he comes back. Simple. Except it was not simple at all. Fast forward to February 2026. Jake is supposedly recovering nicely. And then news drops that he is going back under the knife. Why? Because the plates and screws from the first surgery came loose inside his jaw. Let that sink in for a second. The actual hardware holding his face together started falling apart. He needed a second emergency surgery just to stabilize the damage from the first one. At that point, the people closest to him started having very different conversations about whether boxing was still a smart idea. Now we are in May 2026. Jake shows up on the Ariel Helwani show and says something that genuinely broke the internet. He says, "Can I even fight again?" That is definitely in the realm of possibilities. He is not announcing retirement, but he is sitting there 5 months after getting knocked out, 2 surgeries deep, and admitting out loud that there is a real world where he never boxes again. That is not the Jake Paul we are used to. That is a quieter, more serious guy. A guy who got humbled by the sport he claimed to have mastered. And then he keeps going. He mentions a missing tooth that will probably need a dental implant on top of everything else. No idea how much time that adds. He says he cannot even spar yet. He needs medical clearance just to hit mitts. There is no timeline, no opponent, no scheduled return. Just, we will see. Wait for it. Because this is the part that really got people. Helwani asks him, "Is there anyone in your life telling you to walk away for good?" And Jake goes, "Definitely my doctor Armin. He is saying he does not want me to." His own doctor, the man who has seen the scans, who performed both surgeries, who knows exactly what that jaw looks like from the inside, is telling Jake Paul, do not ever get back in that ring. That is not a minor thing. That is the guy who fixed your face telling you your face cannot take another shot like that.
Yeah, I'm getting some new scans here in a couple of days of the jaw. We'll see what my doctors say. Can I even fight again? That is definitely in the realm and possibilities of things. It does feel a lot better, but I definitely need to get cleared.
Wow, so that's on the table. Your fighting future is somewhat in doubt.
Yeah. No, most definitely. I think it just depends on how the bone heals. And then also there's a tooth missing here. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have to get an implanted tooth of some sort. I don't know how much time that's gonna add to things. We just have to see, figure out what the smartest thing is for me.
Is there any part of you that's like, this may not be worth it anymore?
Yeah, those thoughts have definitely come up.
Is there anyone in your life, whether it's a doctor, family member, who's trying to say maybe enough is enough?
Yeah, definitely. My doctor, Arman, shout out to Arman, but he doesn't want me to fight again.
Wow. That's on Arman Tarukian, right? Your pal? That's a different Arman?
No, different.
Okay.
Arman.
The internet went into full meltdown mode, and then everyone started asking the same question. What does Anthony Joshua think about all of this? Because AJ is the reason we are even having this conversation. He is the one who did the damage. Right after the fight, Joshua said this, and I want you to really hear it. Jake did well while it lasted. He has spirit. He has heart. A lot of fighters have not gotten in the ring with me, and Jake did. Even when he got knocked down, he kept trying to get up, and I take my hat off to him. No trash talk, no gloating, just straight up respect from a man who has shared the ring with Fury, Usyk, and Klitschko. That is a classy response from a guy who had every reason to go the other way. And then, this is my favorite part of the whole story. While Jake is literally in hospital, Joshua posts on social media 2 words, Netflix and chill. That is it. No caption, no speech, just complete and total unbothered energy. Bro, the economy of that post. He knocked out the most viral fighter on the planet and celebrated by acting like he just watched a movie. That single post tells you everything about where AJ's head was at. The wider boxing community was split. Some said this is exactly what happens when you let influencers near real heavyweight punchers. Others, including people who could not stand Jake Paul, actually gave him credit for taking the fight in the first place. Because Joshua is not a gimmick. He is a legitimate elite heavyweight, and Jake walked into that ring anyway.
Jake Paul might be retiring from boxing. Now, Jake Paul was on Ariel Helwani's podcast earlier today where he did state that he might never be able to box again. As we know that in his last fight against Anthony Joshua, he got knocked out. Where that fight was a brutal loss for him, he was getting beaten up pretty badly and took a lot of damage. Where of course his jaw, he had to get surgery on it. And it seems like it's healing, but it's definitely healing slowly, where now he's going to get another checkup, and he said that this is really going to determine the future of his career. Where Jake has already made it pretty far in his boxing career and faced off against some big named opponents. And of course made millions and millions of dollars from it. But I'm sure a lot of people are probably going to be happy with this news, as a lot of people do not like Jake Paul. But you have to admit that he brought a lot of eyes and a lot of fans to the sport of boxing. Of course, with Jake Paul, any publicity is good publicity for him. But this would be a truly sad ending to Jake Paul's boxing career, as I'm sure this isn't the way that he wanted it to go out. But hopefully we do see him return sometime next year, as there's definitely some big fights still left for him in boxing. But I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see what happens. But let me know what you guys think about the situation and the future of Jake Paul's boxing career.
Here is the part most people are completely sleeping on, and this is where it gets genuinely wild. Even if Jake Paul never boxes again, which is now a real possibility, he is not going anywhere near the exit of combat sports. Because while all of this jaw drama is unfolding, his promotional company, Most Valuable Promotions, just launched its first ever MMA event on Netflix. Ronda Rousey versus Gina Carano. The first MMA card in Netflix history. And Jake Paul is one of the lead promoters. So the guy who might be medically banned from fighting is simultaneously running one of the most talked about combat sports events of the year. Read that sentence again. And here is the real twist. Jake said on the Helwani show he wants 20 million viewers for the Netflix MMA card. 20 million. And called that a conservative estimate. If that number hits, Jake Paul will have done more for combat sports as a promoter than most people who actually competed in it. He built MVP into the #1 women's boxing promotional company in under 5 years. He put Mike Tyson on Netflix. He is now doing MMA on Netflix. The fighting career might be ending. The empire is just getting started. So where does this actually leave us? Jake Paul is 29 years old, 12-2 as a professional boxer. He has beaten Ben Askren, Tyron Woodley, Anderson Silva, Nate Diaz, Mike Perry, Mike Tyson, and Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. He lost a close one to Tommy Fury, and then stepped up to a legitimate elite heavyweight and got knocked out cold. His jaw was broken in 2 places. He had 2 surgeries. His own doctor is telling him not to fight again. And right now, nobody, including Jake himself, knows if he ever will. But here is what I will say. Whether you love him or you cannot stand him, this man changed boxing. He brought millions of eyes to the sport that were never there before. He took fights that other people in his position would never have taken. And when Anthony Joshua finally put him down, he did it cleanly, decisively, and with more class than anyone expected. That 2-word post, that post-fight quote, that is the full AJ reaction right there, and it was perfect. Is the boxing career over? We genuinely do not know yet. But if it is, bro, it was one hell of a run. Drop a comment below. Do you think Jake Paul ever fights again? And if you are new here, subscribe. We cover combat sports every single day, and we are not stopping anytime soon.